Gun Talk.
All right, it's Gun Talk. Hey, I'm Tom Gresham. I'm glad that you could be with us because you're going to be a part of our new experiment. I know other people have been doing this for a while, but we are actually doing live streaming of Gun Talk today because we are in the virtual Ruger booth at the NRA's annual meetings. We were supposed to be in Nashville, of course, at the NRA's annual meetings. We were going to be broadcasting from the Ruger booth. Well, that didn't happen. COVID-19 came along, and here we all are. So what we've done is we're setting up, we're doing this on video as well as audio. So as you're hearing the show, that's great. If you get a chance and you want to go take a look at what we're up to, you just go to the Facebook or YouTube channels for Gun Talk or Ruger. Check out what's going on there. You can make comments. And yes, I know everybody says, well, do you have to wear pants for this? No, if you can look, you can see you can't see that far down, so you have no idea. It's okay. Hey, it's radio and it's TV, but none of it's real, don't you know? Hey, I'm glad you could be with us. If you want to be a part of this, if you have just discovered Gun Talk and you don't know what this is, we talk about guns. We talk about guns and shooting and new guns and old guns and safe gun handling, responsible gun use. We talk about the politics of guns, of course. We have millions of people buying guns over the last 6 to 8 weeks with the COVID-19 crisis. We have state governments shutting down gun stores. Others are saying, no, gun stores are essential. It's a mess. We have gun rights groups who are suing governors, suing states to get them to reopen gun stores because it's basically a shutdown of the Second Amendment of your constitutional rights. We'll be talking a bit about that as well. But right now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Ruger and what's going on there these days. And joining me is Chris Killoy. He is the president and the CEO of Ruger Firearms. Hey, Chris, how you doing, man? Hey, Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, Tom. Can you hear me?
I got you. All right, good deal. We got you. There you go. All right, so
okay.
You are obviously holed up at home. Tell me, first of all, this is we're now in the virtual Ruger booth at the NRA show, but you know it is what it is, right?
Right. We certainly wish we were at the NRA show in Nashville. I think that would have been a lot more fun for all of us, but it is what it is.
Exactly right. So tell me, I mean, I don't have any idea how many employees you have, but you got a lot of them. How are you guys handling the whole COVID-19 thing and also this crush of people buying guns these days?
Well, and that's a very good question. You know, our first priority is keeping our employees safe throughout this pandemic. We've got about 1,600 employees. We've got 3 major gun plants, Newport, New Hampshire, Prescott, Arizona, and Mayodan, North Carolina. Then we have a facility out in Earth City, Missouri, where we make metal injection molded parts for our guns. Mm-hmm. And so in that environment, those are folks that can't work from home. Those facilities are all up and running.
Sure.
And so we've had to take a lot of new precautions that we never thought we'd, of course, have to do to try to make sure we're maintaining social distancing in the plant, trying to rearrange some of the work loops between the CNC machines and the processes. It's been a big job for our folks in the factory.
I know it has been because normally you got people standing next to each other, they're moving past each other. I mean, they're in factories, they're making guns. You got CNC machinery, you got to move parts around, you got to do things, and now you have to actually create entirely new processes for the whole thing.
It's a real challenge for our folks in the factories. They've stepped up. They've done a great job. We're doing things like temperature checks on the way into work. We're making sure that, again, putting in social distancing between machines. We've actually had a couple processes we've had to totally rearrange. Some we've had to slow down to ensure we're not putting people at risk. And we're following CDC guidelines, you know, in terms of mask usage and things like that. So it's been a learning curve. We formed right after this all came about in mid-March, late March. We put together a COVID-19 task force headed up by Sarah Colbert, our VP of HR. And she's done a fantastic job. Every morning we meet at 10 a.m. We go through with our environmental health and safety folks. We go through with all our operations team. And we kind of recap the day prior, what's happening today in terms of measures we have to take. And then during the rest of the day, we try to focus on business at hand. You know, we still got our engineers working. Most of them are all working remotely. So they're working with their laptops or computers from their home offices. We just got through, for example, the first quarter close with all our finance people working remotely. So everybody's had to learn and step up to a new way of doing business.
Well, that kind of brings me to the question. The two things you mentioned: work with the finance people. You got your first quarter, and you're making guns. I mean, people are trying to buy guns. They're finding it hard to find guns in a lot of stores. How's business, and are you able to continue with production these days?
Well, first off, on the production side, we've been producing every day. We've had a couple lines that we've had to do a deep clean and interrupt production, and we'd rather slow things down where we need to make sure we're maintaining a safe environment. But all plants have been operational throughout the months of March and April. The shipping folks have done a phenomenal job. Of course, they're the lifeblood. We've even set up stations at all of our warehouses to take care of our truckers. You know, my brother is a long-haul trucker, and truckers are so key to our livelihood in the United States. So we try to make sure we've got sandwiches and coffee and a place for them to use the washroom and whatnot when they come into our facility, because it's tough where they're seeing a lot of their rest stops on their routes have been closed, things like that. Those are things we don't think about.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Somebody was explaining, they say, talk about truckers, say, look, your grocery store only has 3 days of supplies in it. That's all they have is inventory. If they don't have trucks rolling in all the time, you simply are going to run out of everything. And when you think about it, that's actually true of pretty much everything we use, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, that supply chain, we sell Ruger guns go through what we call two-step distribution. So we sell to a network of wholesalers, names like Davidson's, Lipsy's, Sports South, people like that.
Right.
And with that, so we have to ship to them. Their warehouses are then turning that product around and shipping to retailers. And it got really crazy there, in the last week of March, first week of April, as people were scrambling. You saw inventory moving rapidly from dealer shelves,
right,
from distributor shelves, and from our shelves as well.
So you're still shipping out, and you're getting guns to distributors. So gun stores can still order guns from the distributors. They're getting shipped in, but it's not like we haven't seen this before. You can get them in as fast as you want, but if people are buying them faster than you can supply them, then the supply isn't going to be there when they show up.
Absolutely. And, they've got within the stores, of course, at the retailers, they're practicing social distancing. So, filling out a 4473 at the gun counter is usually a face-to-face experience. So now you've got, instead of a retailer full of people, you're perhaps only limiting to 1 or 2 folks at a time coming in. So everything slows down a little bit.
Well, an ATF put out a guideline that said, look, you can do drive-through or curbside gun sales now. That's a totally different deal, but they're actually they're responding well to this COVID-19 mess. And so gun stores are able to go out and basically deliver guns at curbside, or if they had a drive-through, I guess they could do that.
Right. The innovative retailers that we've talked to are doing things like scheduling appointments so they can minimize the traffic coming up to their store, or taking a number and then letting people know what they have in inventory. People make their choice, and then, again, minimizing that person-to-person contact. So, as always, the smart retailers are finding a way to get things done.
Well, and I know you're a very forward-looking company. You're looking at this, as we all are, and saying, okay, we're going to be coming out of this. It's not like if, and we know we are. And I actually have been noticing you're actually still announcing new product through all of this, things that were in the works for a while, and now they're out. I got to assume that your team they're still working on this shopping list. You always have a multi-page shopping list of what do we want to do next, right?
Absolutely. And we, as a management team, we talk about that all the time. I mean, this is kind of some military analogies. I mean, you don't win by playing defense. You win by playing offense. And so we're, right now, we're kind of in that defensive mode, trying to make sure we keep our people safe. But our engineers are working. Things are a little slower because they can't run over to the tool room and get a prototype made quite as quickly as they could before all this happened. Mm-hmm. But they're going forward, and we're ready to go, and we've got our plans in place when we come out of this on the back end, both in the factories and with our engineering teams. And you'll be hearing from, I think, Graham Rockwell in a little bit.
Yep.
Graham will talk to you about some of the new products. And again, a lot of cool stuff we launched. We would have had more fun with it, frankly, if we were all standing around the Ruger booth at the NRA convention. but it is what it is.
Yeah, and we appreciate you letting us hang out in your virtual booth. If there's something that you want the customer, the gun owning public to know about Ruger right now, what would it be?
Well, first and foremost, we're keeping the best interests of our employees, at heart. We want to keep our factories safe. We provided all of our hourly employees with 2 weeks additional paid time off that they can use for if it's COVID-19 related emergencies, either themselves or their families. And if they don't use that, then they can cash that in at the end of the year. So we try to make sure we take care of our folks. I know this has been a difficult environment for all of them. We've tried to increase the communication with them. At the same time, we've tried to keep an eye on our local communities. We've shifted some of our resources in the factories over to making face shields for local first responders, particularly up in New Hampshire. They've done a great job getting those out to local police departments, fire departments,
Wow.
and the ERs. So that's been interesting. We've actually had a couple of our engineers working on a project with some MIT folks to open source, converting some respirators to ventilator type technology. That's been very interesting. Whether that goes anywhere or not remains to be seen. But we wanted to make sure we put some of our best and brightest on those projects, so we could help out as best we can. And it's been very interesting for us. It's like I said, we learned every day how to operate in this environment. And again, it's a challenge, particularly for our folks on the factory floor. I mean, they've done a phenomenal job. They stepped up like they always do, and I couldn't be more proud of the Ruger employees as we weather the storm here. Because we want to make sure we're continuing to build great guns for Americans as they navigate through this on their own.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it, Chris. I mean, obviously, Ruger, a great American company, taking care of your American workers as well as Americans out there and actually working on the COVID deal. I appreciate it so much. We're going to have more people on from Ruger as we go through the day and kind of what's news, what's going on there. But again, thank you for letting us hang out in your virtual booth at the NRA show.
Thank you, Tom. And next year we'll be at the real show, so we'll see you then.
Sounds good. Thanks so much. Chris Calloy, he's the president and CEO of Ruger. If you'd like to be a part of this madness, give me a call, 866-TALK-GUN, or call me at Tom Talk Gun. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk. video streaming of the Gun Talk radio show. Right now, it's available on the Gun Talk and Ruger Facebook and YouTube channels. You can go to either one of those, or actually those are 4 of them as I think of it. And you can take a look at that, offer thoughts and comments. We're giving away stuff. You know how much we love to give away stuff. Let's see. The new, we call it the Carrion giveaway winners. We have grand prize winner Noel from Tennessee. He got the FN 503 $500 gift certificate to Galco, gun leather, etc. So Noel in Tennessee, I'm sure you either have gotten your email on that or you will be getting that. 2 first prize winners, Jonathan from New Mexico and Wayne from Florida also. We got a new giveaway going on. Love that. Go Long, we're calling this one the Go Long with Gun Talk. And it is, you can enter now through May the 18th. Go to guntalk.com/win, W-I-N. Grand prize winner gets more than $5,400 in prizes. This one got my attention. The Daniel Defense Delta 5 bolt action in 6.5 Creedmoor. I have shot this rifle. It is awesome. It is really something else. They've done a great job. Interchangeable hammer forged barrel, user configurable stock, upgraded Timney Elite Hunter trigger for out-of-the-box customization. Guaranteed to shoot 3/4 of a minute. Crazy stuff. Good stuff. There's going to be a Crimson Trace optics pack, Caldwell range pack, Timney triggers, Calvin Elite trigger, lockdown security pack. There's also a first prize after the grand prize. That's going to be a whole lockdown security pack and Timney triggers. It goes on and on. All the details, you go to guntalk.com/win and you enter to win. Now, you know the drill, right? Just because you entered last month doesn't enter you on this one. You got to go back and enter each month. Okay, so guntalk.com/win. Let's see. Also, you notice if you're watching the video, I got on my Gun Talk hat. We have a lot of hats. We have books. We have videos. We have all kind of stuff. If you go to shopguntalk.com, you can get that stuff. The one I like, I'm not wearing it at the moment. We have a stealthy gun hat. When you're wearing it, a lot of people won't even know that it relates to guns. We call it our circle trigger hat. And it looks, some people say it looks like a Pepsi thing. Some people say it looks like a Nike swooshy thing. What it really is a trigger. It's just a trigger. And other gun people might get it, might not. But once you mention it to them, they'll go, oh, I see what you did there. So you can be wearing gun wear. And sometimes you don't want to openly wear gun wear at certain places. So just a thought there. Let's go to line 1. Frank's with us out of Yellowstone County, Montana. Hey, Frank, you're on Gun Talk. What's on your mind? Let's see if we can pull Frank up there. Not getting him. Hey, Frank, you there? Nope. Don't have him, guys. I'll tell you what, try to pull Frank back in there. And I was looking at his question, but it reminded me. I had an experience yesterday with a carry holster fail. It's not a question of it being a bad holster, I don't think. I think it's just a mismatch of the gun and the holster. I was using an ankle holster, and it's actually a very good ankle holster. I've had these before. They now are put out by Wilderness Tactical. I think it was called the Roadrunner. Somebody else had it, but Wilderness Tactical has it. It's elastic, and it's comfortable. And I had a Ruger LCP in it. It's an elastic pouch, and it wasn't a great fit. Okay, but you can make it work. You shove it down in there, and the elastic's got the gun, and go, well, that's pretty good. Pretty good's not good enough. So yesterday I was doing an activity where I had to move a little bit faster than normal, and so I'm actually pushing something and moving fast and really working pretty hard, and I feel something down in around my left calf, and I go, that's not right. Something just happened here. So I stopped and looked, and yeah, the entire pistol had come out of the holster, out of the ankle holster. And it was it was kind of sitting there against my leg with the pants leg holding it. And as soon as I moved a little bit, it fell out on the floor. That would qualify as not being good. All right, now I think we got Frank back here on line 1 out of Yellowstone County. Hey, Frank, how are you, sir?
Fine, sir. And how about yourself?
I'm good. So talk to me about carry holster. What's your question here?
Well, it's more of an observation at my own expense. Over the years, and we all who shoot seem to accumulate a lot of holsters. And I'm finally learning after all these years that during the summer months when we want less printing,
Hmm.
a soft leather holster might be a better idea than Kydex, even though Kydex at most times allows quicker access.
Could be and I think this is one of those where the answer is, well, it all depends. I have dozens of leather holsters and probably dozens of Kydex holsters. And it's weird. I love my leather holsters because they're traditional and everything else. And the one I really like is the Summer Special by Milk Sparks. I've been wearing those literally since 1975. It's a great inside the waistband holster, and I've carried a lot of guns in those, and they're very comfortable. What I find now, got to remember where you are and where I am. If I'm down in Louisiana and I'm carrying with a leather inside the waistband holster, the leather's getting wet and the gun's getting wet because you sweat when you're out here in the steamy South and Louisiana. When you're up in the arid, cool country of Montana where you are, that may not be as much of an issue. But I kind of get concerned about a gun sitting in a sweat-soaked leather holster. What do you think?
Um, we only have about 4 months of summer up here, and I am referring to outside the waistband concealed carry. The inside the waistband, you make an absolutely perfect point about humidity for IWB, but the outside the waistband Kydex, as much as I love them, don't seem to cover the gun quite as well as a soft leather.
You know, it's a great point. And to your point, Frank, I have kind of switched, and now I am wearing outside the waistband. And well, I've got my shirt tail out at the moment, so you can just imagine what's underneath that shirt tail if you're watching on video. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. But yeah, I've gone to OWB, outside the waistband holsters. I just find them to be more comfortable, and I dress for the gun. I don't try to find a gun that works with what I wear. I think it's just smarter. Pick the right gun and then dress accordingly. All right, 866 Talk Gun. When we come back, what's new going on at Ruger, and also your calls. Gun Talk Radio, and now we're doing Gun Talk Video as well. It's kind of crazy what we're up to these days. We're doing live streaming right now. We're in the, well, first of all, let me back up. Originally, we were scheduled to be at the NRA's annual meetings, the big trade expo. It was going to be in Nashville. Of course, the COVID-19 thing hit. That got canceled. We were scheduled to be doing the show from the Ruger booth. So we said, well, let's take advantage of this, do what everybody else is doing. Let's do the connection virtually, if you will. So we're doing a virtual broadcast from the virtual Ruger booth at the NRA's annual meeting. So anyway, well, all that to say that we're actually streaming this live. If you want to go to the Ruger or Gun Talk Media Facebook or YouTube channels, you can see us live streaming this as we're doing the radio show. So we don't know what we're doing, but we're sure having fun. You know, it's that old deal of, I'm lost, but I'm making good time. So why worry about it, right? By the way, if you'd like to be a part of this, if you want to call in, everything's still the same. You can give us a call, 866-TALK-GUN or Tom Talk Gun. A lot of news going on out there. And I'll be talking about this a little bit later. We have the gun rights groups who are filing suits in a number of different states where the governors have decided that gun stores are non-essential and they're going to close them down. Of course, our point of all this is, wait a minute, this is the Second Amendment. This is a constitutional right. It doesn't say you have these rights under the Bill of Rights unless we have an emergency, in which case we will wipe out the entire Bill of Rights. No. And you'll notice they're not doing much about the other rights, although they do kind of clamp down on free speech and assembly. And that's being challenged as well, not by us, okay? All right, let me do this. We're going to bring in Graham Rockwell right now. Graham is the product manager at Ruger. He's been laboring under all this, the newness under the COVID-19. So hey, Graham, how are you, sir?
Not too bad, Tom. Good to hear from you.
Good. You look good. You sound good. Hey, you're in the midst of all this. What kind of changes have you guys had in making all these guns you make under the COVID-19 world?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Chris talked a lot about the challenges we have, at the factories, just with personnel and keeping everybody safe. But one of the most important things we're continuing to do is to continue to design new projects, new guns, and push those projects forward. So people that can work remotely, a lot of our design engineers are still able to do a lot of their work remotely and feed it back into the plant. So we're continuing to push projects forward despite what's going on here.
Well, and obviously anything that's coming out now has been in the pipeline for a year or more. So, those have been moving forward. So what new things do you have? What are you guys working on?
So, the big one that we just launched recently, the extension of the PC carbine line, is the PC charger, obviously a 9mm. Great new, great extension off the PC carbine platform, has all the same great features. Got this nice short 6.5-inch barrel, thick rail in the back so you can do a pistol brace, and obviously mounting optics and SAF-28 so you can mount suppressors.
We actually had that out at the range recently. That has to be honestly one of the coolest guns you guys have brought out in many years. As soon as you put on one of the pistol braces on it, the folding pistol brace, it's what we were doing, it just becomes quite the tool. That thing can be packed away easily, easy to carry. You could have it as a vehicle gun. If you're out, in the woods or something, you want to put it in the backpack, you can certainly do that. It's small, it's easy, but I would say it's going to be much more, I'm not sure if accurate is the right word, but it is easier to shoot well than a pistol. Would you say?
Absolutely. It's still heavy, it's on the pistol range of things, the heavy pistol. So you're still reducing recoil with the weight, and then with a suppressor on there, it's a lot of fun to shoot. And
you can use Ruger mags or Glock mags in that, right?
Yep. So same great feature as all the other PC carbines. It ships with the SR magazine, but you can put the Glock module in, and then you get your Glock Happy Sticks, 33 rounds.
Yeah, because we knew that was coming, I went out and bought 4 of those 33-round Glock mags because why wouldn't you, right?
They make it a lot more fun.
Okay, so what else you guys been doing?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I think we had talked about this at the SHOT Show, but a couple of the other guns that people are still looking for, and we got to talk about the Ruger 5.7 pistol. I mean, this is, even without COVID, this has obviously been an extremely popular gun, and it's got a lot of great features. If people haven't seen it yet, you got your 20-round steel magazines. It's lightweight, pick rail on the bottom, and then one of the great features is the ability to mount an optic straight
Yeah, I see
with an accessory.
yeah, the one you're showing us now on the video, you got an optic mounted on that. The other thing is it's a large-ish, like a 1911 size pistol, but when you pick it up, it's so surprising because it's so darn light.
Absolutely lightweight. It's a flat shooting round, and it's just a great new platform from Ruger.
How is that done for you in terms of sales?
So I mean, it's going straight from the factory to the people that are ordering them. You know, we still get a lot of requests, and this is obviously we're making them every day.
Right.
But we got a lot of people saying they don't see them on the shelves, and that's something we're working on, and we're going to keep making them.
Well, that's true of everything these days. I mean, it's just trying to supply with this crazy demand we've had, you know, and we know that this is going to tone down a bit, but it's been a little bit nuts. And I mean, part of your job, you're bringing out new stuff, but also it's just to keep making things in the midst of you guys taking precautions with your customer or your workers, rather, as Chris was talking about.
Exactly. So we have to keep that balance. And as Chris said, and I'll repeat it, you know, we're incredibly proud of everybody at the plants. This is obviously not just a material and machine issue. It's, you know, the entire environment. People are stepping up to the plate, still coming to work, and our managers are doing a great job of keeping them safe. So I want to thank all the folks in the factory and everybody that's keeping this rolling.
I'll throw a curve at you. We didn't talk about this, but I was just noticing you guys are still, and one of the platforms you make that is one of my favorites because I'm old school is I love the Hawkeye, you know, the old Model 77 platform, and you're still tweaking and doing things to that line as well.
Yeah, two of my favorite guns that are coming off that line right now are the long range target and the long range hunter line.
Right.
I don't have one here with me now for the folks on the video, but you know, essentially taking the proven Mauser style action and putting some of the new popular calibers in there. So you're seeing your 6.5 PRC, which Hornady introduced last year, and that's been extremely popular on the long range hunter platform. A lot of people taking that out to the field and having success with it.
Did I don't want to put you on the spot, did I just see that somebody's doing like a special run of that rifle in the 280 actually improved?
I think Lipsy's or Davidson is doing an exclusive on that.
Yeah, one of those distributors doing an exclusive on that. Now, quick question: do you have more guns ready to show us? Because if you do, I'm going to take a quick break and come back to you.
Yeah, I got one more I want to show you, but we can take a break.
All right, let's do that. I need to take a quick break. We've got to sell some soap. We'll be right back. We're doing show and tell. We're doing radio. We're doing video. If you want to join us, either one, it's all great. If you want to call in and ask a question, give us a holler right now, 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham, and this is Gun Talk. With the 866 Talk Gun will get you in here. I'm Tom Gresham. The show is called Gun Talk Radio, and now it's Gun Talk Video because we're doing streaming. We're doing an experiment today, okay? You kind of cut us a little slack on this. We're having some fun. We're doing this as video streaming as well as doing the radio. So if you want to go over to the Gun Talk Facebook or YouTube feeds or the Ruger Firearms Facebook or YouTube feeds, we're doing streaming on all those platforms. But that doesn't mean you can't be a part of this. All you have to do is give us a call on the phone at 866 Talk Gun, and we'll take your call. We'll talk about, well, whatever you want to talk about, really, because we're pretty much anything that has to do with guns, we're willing to talk about it. We're talking right now with Graham Rockwell. He is the product manager at Ruger Firearms. Graham, you said you had another gun squirreled away back there you want to show and tell us about.
Yeah, I got one more gun for you. Again, this is we did launch this right before SHOT Show, and you and I talked about it, but I want to bring it back up again, just with the extreme popularity of it and making more people aware of what a great platform this is. This is our LCP2 in 22 long rifle, so 10-round capacity, same size, but just significantly reduced slide force needed to rack the gun and reduce recoil. Great for a trainer or some people carrying it. So I wanted to bring that one back up.
Okay, an LCP2 in 22 rimfire, 10 shots. I could see a lot of use for that, actually.
Yep, and it's, specifically people are looking for something that they can manipulate with their hands. A lot of the compact carry guns are difficult to rack. So we have a new LITE, light rack system on here, increase the ears, and just with being able to use a 22, lighter spring, and it's just a breeze to operate the firearm.
Makes sense. I mean, and the physics of it are that you have to have, when you shooting a 9mm, for instance, you have to have a spring in the recoil system that will handle the force of a 9mm cartridge coming back. And so the spring might be, I'm holding my hands out, this long. And as the gun gets smaller, the spring gets shorter and shorter and shorter, but it still has to be able to handle that much energy. And so it gets considerably more difficult to rack it with your hands. And so when you get to small guns, not only are they harder to shoot well, generally speaking, they're more demanding, but they're also harder to rack the slide. I love the idea of the LCP2, a small gun, and 22, easy to rack. And Graham, people will say, oh, well, that's not really a defensive cartridge. I go, well, you know what? If that's what you have and that's what you can shoot well, then it is.
Yeah, it's more important to be confident with the gun, know that you can operate it safely and effectively.
Exactly. Michelle, our call screener, who also they have a gun store, she's saying that the 5.7s are pretty hard to get these days for gun stores. When you have a chance to talk with gun stores, can you explain what you're doing to either increase the production or get more guns out there somehow?
Yeah, with a lot of our new platforms, there's a natural ramp up where we got the machines in place, but the training of the people, the continual improvement of the process, it does take time to ramp these lines up to what they're intended to be at. So the Ruger 5.7 pistol is something every week the line is doing a great job of increasing the capacity on that line. It's definitely not going down. It's only on an upward path. And with our distribution system, like I think Chris might have mentioned, it's a 2-tier distribution system.
Right.
So not every, it depends on what gun stores work with what distributors and what's allocated for each store. So you might not see it in your smaller stores, but stores that are moving a lot of product probably have a better chance of seeing that gun.
Right. Keep calling around, see if you can find it out there, see if you can put it on order. Go ahead and get a real order in, because if you have a real order with some money down, then you're more likely to get it. If you just say, hey, be sure to get me one of those, that really doesn't count as an actual firm order.
Yep. And ultimately, we'll get one in everyone's hands that wants one. So that's
and of course
that's what we do at Ruger.
You also got hit with the COVID deal, where now you got to slow down production a little bit because you're trying to get social distancing in factories. I don't even know how that works.
It's as Chris described earlier. It's everything we do is a process in the plants, and we just have to make adjustments. It's difficult, absenteeism, just the general climate, but the Ruger employees are getting it done, and they'll continue to push guns out.
For those who are, and look, there's a zillion Ruger fans out there, and they want to know what's going on, or they want to get the latest information on what's new, what you guys are introducing, because it seems like there's not a month that goes by you don't have something new. What's the best way for people to find out what's going on? What are the new products?
That's one of the greatest parts about working for Ruger is just the talent we have in our engineering teams and the new products they can come out with. And we're going to continue to launch new stuff as we can, even through this environment. And you can check all new products on Ruger.com as well as any of our social media sites.
Ruger.com is going to be the best way to go. And then you got all their social media, Facebook, all the rest of it as well. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Graham, thank you so much for spending some time with us and participating in our great experiment on doing this video. You're looking good to me. It's just like, I can't believe it. We have talented people behind the scenes. It's sure isn't me. It's Michael, and it's all our crew that's put all this together for us.
Yeah, I got a little more of a home studio here, but you guys are looking great down there. It'll be better to do it in person, and looking forward to doing it next year or later this year.
Sounds good. We'll do that, and we'll make it a point to get together, and we'll do it at a show, but also if we can go on a shoot or a hunt somewhere, we'll try to put that together as well.
Yep, and we're still planning for our hunts and our events later in the year. We haven't canceled everything yet. It's just going to be one of those. We have to see where everything ends up. So we're going to continue to plan stuff, and hopefully it happens.
That's all we can do. Thanks so much, Graham. I appreciate it, man.
Really appreciate it. Have a good day.
Take care. All righty. That's always fun to find out what's going on, the new stuff that's going on as well. It's Ruger.com if you want to know what's going on there. If you want to participate in the call here or the conversation here, call me. 866-TALK-GUN will get you in, or just call Tom Talk Gun. Looking for range reports. We will be back in just a few seconds. Have you been shooting? Have you been to a gun store? Are you finding any guns at the gun store? Let me know. Oh, yeah, we're having fun today. Tom Gresham here. 866 Talk Gun gets you in here. It's Gun Talk. Let's see. Gun groups sue to reopen Georgia gun carrying permitting. A coalition of gun rights groups filed a federal suit against Georgia officials on Thursday, demanding that the state reopen its firearms, its concealed carry permitting system, or eliminate the permit altogether. Well, I kind of like that last one. How about no permits to exercise your Second Amendment rights? How about not having to say, Mother, may I? You know, when you say, okay, I would really, really like it if I could exercise my constitutional rights. Please, can I pay a fee? Can I stand in line? Can I fill out a form? Can I pay $100 to exercise my Second Amendment rights? People say, well, you're not saying have no permits. That's exactly what I'm saying. No such thing as a carry permit. It's ridiculous. We now have either 16 or 17 states where we have constitutional carry, where you're not required to get a permit at all to carry a firearm concealed. If you can legally own a gun, you can legally carry a gun. Simple as that. Within parameters. Some of them have an age limit, a 21-year-old age limit, whereas you can actually own the gun at 18. But in Georgia, they blocked issuing or even taking permits for carry permits. So Second Amendment Foundation, the Firearms Policy Coalition, and some others are filing suit. It's really been hard, honestly, to keep up with all the lawsuits that are going on because, let's say, we've sued in New Mexico, we sued in Florida, we sued in New Jersey, we've sued in Massachusetts, and we sued in New York. I know those right off the bat. In a lot of places, we didn't have to sue because when the governor had said, well, you know, gun stores are not essential businesses, we, the gun-owning public, went in and educated them about this. And I got to give a big shout out to the National Shooting Sports Foundation. That's the Firearms Industry Trade Association. It worked with the White House and the Department of Homeland Security to make sure that gun stores and shooting ranges were included in their list of essential businesses during this COVID emergency. And so by being able to go to governors and say, look, the Department of Homeland Security says that gun stores and shooting ranges are in fact essential businesses, it gave the governors who were getting pushed in different directions the ability to say, you know what, I'm going to go with what the feds say here. Because they may say, well, I wanted to do that, but I was getting pushed by the gun control people, so thank you for giving me this that I can use. In some states, California, New Jersey, weirdly, New Mexico, we have governors who've said, no, we don't really care about that. I think was it New Jersey? It's New Jersey or Maryland. It may have been New Jersey, where the governor, he was asked, well, what about the constitutional rights, Second Amendment rights? He said, well, that's above my pay grade. Wait, when you're the governor, there's no one above your pay grade in the state. You are the final one. That's where the buck stops when you're the governor. You can't put this off on somebody else, okay? So, yeah, you don't get to say, that's not my thing. I don't really care about it. No. Stripping away constitutional rights that's just something you don't get to do. And when they wrote the Bill of Rights, they didn't say in there, well, you will have these rights unless a governor or a mayor decides that things are a little bit frightening, a little bit scary, at which point we're going to take away your rights. Actually, those are the times when you actually need to have your rights protected. And so for those who are saying, well, why are you guys challenging this in the middle of the COVID thing? Can't you just get along? Actually, no, we can't. We can't just get along because we have to protect our constitutional rights at all times, especially when they're under attack. And one of the things that is certainly clear is that this emergency has exposed a lot of these tyrants who want to take your gun rights away, who want to take your guns away, who want to stop licensing and issuing permits. Now they're doing it, and it's up to us to get involved and make sure that doesn't happen. Tell you what, be right back with more Gun Talk. 866 Talk Gun.
Since 1990.
All right, Tom Gresham here. It's Gun Talk. Glad that you could be with us. We're having a much fun today. I hope that you are as well. Yeah, I know we're all holed up. We're doing the COVID-19 hiding from everybody. Oh yeah, I like a lot of other people. I bought a set of electric clippers. We did the home haircut deal. You'll notice I'm wearing a hat right now. Well, yeah, I know you're saying, but it's radio. Yeah, it is, but it's also video. We're doing an experiment today. We're doing a video feed as well as radio feed. So on the Gun Talk Facebook and YouTube channels, we're doing the video feed as well, and you can take a look over there. It's kind of fun. We're having a bunch of fun doing this and getting together with a bunch of our friends. If you'd like to be a part of it, give me a call, 866-TALK-GUN or Tom Talk Gun. Will certainly get you in there. We're pretty much open lines. There's really no dumb question. I may have dumb answers, but that's just, hey, I've made a living doing that. 866-TALK-GUN. Joining us right now is one of our good friends in the firearms world, Ronell Franklin from Lockdown. Hey, Ronell, how you doing?
I'm great, Tom. How are you?
Well, I am excellent. You know, there are going to be a lot of people who are going, I know her, but I don't know what Lockdown is. You did a shift. You did a change. You want to tell them what Lockdown is?
I'm happy to tell them what Lockdown is. Lockdown's been around for a while. You know, they originated in vault organization and accessories, but we're really getting into smart products now with your firearms in mind.
Okay, so what kind of, when we say we're making smart products and things, and it's in the firearms world, what are we talking about?
Well, it's our Pioneer products. We just got them in stock, and they are shipping, and it's the puck. Now, the puck was designed to be used in your vault. You will set it up. It connects to your Wi-Fi. You download the Lockdown Logic app, and it will give you real-time notifications about your temperature, your humidity. If somebody's tampering with your vault, if somebody opens your vault door, you'll receive a series of messages on your phone or anybody else's phone that you set up as a contact.
Okay, so you take this electronic gizwizzy, and it's a puck. I mean, puck is probably a good word for it, like hockey puck-ish in size, and you put it inside your gun safe. And
Absolutely.
And it will connect through to your Wi-Fi through the gun safe. No issues with getting out of the gun safe.
As long as you have a strong Wi-Fi signal, then no, there is no issues.
Okay, and speaking of that, if you don't, these days, for people who don't know, you can buy repeaters and mesh routers and other things that give you a strong signal throughout your whole house. So that's something that's changed in the last few years. There's no reason to have a weak signal anywhere in your house. That includes wherever you keep your gun safe. Okay, so you put this thing in your gun safe. Go over again what it's going to tell me.
It is going to tell you what the temperature and the humidity is in your safe, as well as you can set a safe range where if it gets out of that range, you'll get a notification that's saying it's not safe, and you need to turn on your dehumidifier or put in more silica gel, or it's going to tell you if somebody is tampering with your safe. We have this proprietary algorithm that, for lack of a better term, kind of like a vibration sensor. Mm-hmm. So if somebody is, jarring your door, trying to get in, it will alert you. It will also alert you if somebody opens your door.
Okay, so yeah, like an accelerometer built into that thing. So if in that way you would get an alert. If it's not you, then you go, okay, somebody's messing with my safe, whether it's the kids opening it or somebody opened it when I was away that weren't supposed to, or somebody's actually broken into my house. They're trying to get into the safe. You got the alert. And if there's nobody at home, I mean, you can just immediately go ahead and call the police and get something rolling there or do whatever's appropriate. So is this, I mean, I know this is a brand new product. Is it out now?
It is available. We've got our inventory now, and they're flying out of here as quick as we can get them in. It's very exciting.
What do they sell for?
They MSRP for $109.99, and I will say that I've already seen them for just shy of $100. So, the things for right around $100. For you to be able to track that temperature and the humidity and know it's always safe, yes, but really, keep those firearms safe. And that's just using it in the vault. The puck, while originally designed for your safe, there's a lot of other uses for it. If you're traveling with, Pelicans, you can set it up on your hotel's Wi-Fi. If anybody is moving the Pelican from your hotel room.
Interesting. Okay. So, yeah, I would not have thought of that. But, yeah, you can just put this inside of your gun case, your locked gun case in your room and put that away. And if somebody, of course, now when and I'll just say this, when I have guns in my room, I always put out the do not disturb. I'm not having housekeeping coming in or anything else. So there shouldn't be anybody in the room when I got guns in the room.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of another product that we're waiting on inventory right now is our in plain sight shelf, which a lot of people have those, in plain sight storage. The puck is a great place for that. A lot of those aren't as temperature and humidity controlled as, say, your vault would be.
Right.
So it lets you know if the room that you have it in is safe. But that is definitely a good place to know if, one of the kids or if somebody is moving that, or if somebody's opened your in plain sight shelf.
I I think what's going to happen is as you start thinking about what this can do, you just start thinking of more and more ways to use it. That's got to have happened to you guys by now.
It is. And, it's one of the funnest things about this product is launching it, but, asking people, where do you want to use it?
Right.
Could this go in your toolbox in the garage? Can this go in your camper if you're camping at a site that has Wi-Fi?
Right.
Can this, where are all the different locations that you can use it? And it's been really great getting customer feedback.
It's I take it's battery operated.
It is has multiple power options, so we do recommend that you use the all the time having the USB plugged in. But it
Okay.
does have a battery backup so that you can take it with you traveling. But also, if the house loses power, that way your puck won't lose power. And you'll get the app will tell you what type of power source is on there, and if you are using batteries, it lets you know how much percentage is left in those batteries as well.
That is all very cool. So tell us about the Lockdown Company itself. Well, where did it come from, and where are you guys going? Because I know you've got this roadmap of where you're heading with this thing.
We do, and it's a really fun roadmap. It's a really exciting time for me to have, transitioned over here, and I'm having a great time with it. Lockdown has always been, like I said, we're known for a vault organization, really neat magazine magnets or magazine racks or, gun holders for inside your vault.
Mm-hmm.
And really, we just wanted to break into this smart market with your firearms in mind. There's a lot of smart technology out there, but it was designed to keep your home safe or to keep other valuables safe, not necessarily your firearms.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really sets us apart is we are firearms first.
Yeah.
And all these other uses, keeping, heirloom safe or, your door safe, any of those things are great. They're fantastic uses, but it comes down to firearms. So the puck is the first in what we are calling the Logic family. So it's the first smart product that will work with our Logic app. Later this year, you're going to see vault doors coming, which are really exciting. Vault doors.
So you could build a room and put one of these doors on it. Now the room becomes a safe.
The room becomes a safe, and it comes with all of the same great features as the puck. So you still will have that app that gives you the temperature, the humidity. Has somebody opened your door? It's the very, very big brother to the puck, and we're really excited for that.
Well, as somebody who lives in the humid South, where humidity and guns are a bad combination and you're always worried about that, it would be great to be able to get an alert to say, okay, humidity is too high in your safe. You need to come recharge your silica gel or do something in there. Because I honestly do live in fear of opening that safe at one point and pulling out a gun and seeing rust on it. It's just one of the things that just drives you crazy.
Absolutely. And, with the products that we have available today, there's no reason for it. There's no excuse for that. So, while Lockdown has always been a big provider of silica gels and, dehumidifier rods and all of these products to take care of you, we're taking our, advanced technology that we have, and even though it's not a smart product, coming to light with things like our compact automatic dehumidifier. This guy will sit in your safe, and it detects, you set what is a safe range, and it will automatically turn on when it needs to. And what's great about this dehumidifier is it's actually taking the moisture out of the air and putting it either into a water basin that you can dump out when needed, or you can actually run a tube outside of your safe so it will actually take the moisture out of the air, which, silica gels and dehumidifier rods are great, but they don't actually pull the moisture out.
Right.
This is the only product that does that.
And I do thank you for not adding, because when you said there's no reason to be worried about this, and you didn't say, you dummy. So I appreciate that. All right. So,
never, Tom.
So for the information on this, it's Lockdown, LOCKDOWN, lockdown.com. You can see the puck. You can see all the other stuff you guys are up to, and also get the news about all the new products you're going to be introducing. I know.
Absolutely. And we're doing a giveaway on our social media right now, so it's a great time. There's over 100 prizes, and it's not only from Lockdown, but our friends over at Crimson Trace and Caldwell have thrown in some goodies as well. But there's plenty of new products coming out, a lot of really exciting stuff, and it all can be found on our website.
Very cool. Ronell, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, you take care. All right, 866 Talk Gun will get you in here. We'll take a quick break. Be right back with more Gun Talk. Six golf clubs. You're allowed 14 golf clubs. Why is that? Because you have different uses for different ones. And so you set up your ARs for different things. They are ultimately incredibly adaptable, customizable. So you set them up, you got your long range, you got your short range, you got your defensive gun, you got your AR pistol, you've got your 6.5 Creedmoor, you got your 223, you got your 450, it goes on and on and on. Why wouldn't you have a bunch of them? It's just a platform. It's just the AR-15 itself is just the receiver. Then you start adding the uppers, the barrels, the different kind of stocks, different kind of forearms, everything else you add to it. If you're old enough to remember an erector set, it's kind of like an erector set. You get to make it whatever you want it to be. 866 Talk Gun gets you in here. That is the number. Mike has called in on 3. He's out of Atlanta, Georgia. Hey, Mike, what's going on here?
So, Tom, I've got a Ruger EC9. I just got back from the range, and I noticed, I also have a We the People holster. It's kind of hard plastic. It clicks. The gun clicks right into it and can't fall out again, but it's scraping up the side of my gun. Is there anything I can do to treat maybe the inside of the holster to keep this from worsening?
So this is a positive retention holster where do you have to push a button or something to get the gun out?
No, but it's custom made only for this weapon, so it clicks in nice and tight.
Got you.
So there's a lot of safety there.
The reality is there's probably nothing much you can do nothing that comes to mind for me right now. I mean, other you could try a different holster, but it sounds to me like you really like this holster, right?
I do. Yes.
Okay, if you like the holster, then you're going to have what is just commonly called holster wear. And you're sliding in and out. I think Kydex is a lot harder on guns than leather is. The one thing I would offer is that you're in Georgia, you got humidity, good Lord, don't we though, and sweat and everything else. You want to really be careful if it starts to get like all the way down to the metal. You want to make sure that you're wiping that gun down at least on a weekly basis if this is your carry gun to prevent rust from getting there. And even weekly may not be enough. I mean, I don't know what you do, but I find that in the summer I have to be really careful because there's certain spots on different guns, so screw heads and things like that, that can develop a little bit of rust from just the sweat and perspiration that you have.
Oh, trust me, I've noticed that. I've lived here for 22 years, and that's an absolute truth. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as keeping it from happening, I don't know. There are some metal treatments that are harder than others. You can nichrome, nickel chromium. You can do, the old Robar guys. I don't think they're still in business anymore, but there are people who do electroless nickel, and those are just so hard they'll never going to wear off. The problem is, you end up with a $300 pistol that you have to go do $300 worth of upgrade on, and then you begin to wonder, is that worthwhile?
Yeah, I get it. It's not the end of the world. It's just a cosmetic thing, but it's a good-looking gun, and so I thought I'd ask.
Yeah, the other thing is, you say it's Coyote.
It is, yeah.
You might check around for a local applicator, somebody who does Cerakote. And if you go on the Cerakote website, they'll have links to all of the people, the different businesses that will do Cerakoting. You might approach a local Cerakote applicator and say, look, this is what I got going, and see if he or she has an idea of a way to coat it and maybe put another layer of finish on it, maybe even a different finish that might either wear better or just go back every couple of years and have it redone.
That's probably what I'll wind up doing. Yeah, okay.
Okay, good deal. Look, I wish you luck with it. By the way, how do you like that pistol?
I absolutely love it. This is my preferred concealed carry. It's a single stack, 7+1. You could hammer nails with it. And for anybody out there listening, you could pick one up for like $225.
Yes.
And that just for dollar, I think it's the best gun I own.
That's interesting because I was just going to make the point that this is not an expensive high-end gun, and yet it is an excellent everyday carry gun. And I didn't realize you can get it that cheap. I was thinking under $300, but I had no idea.
It's a shop I bought it at down near Savannah. The black ones were $225. Mine was $250, just because I thought it was kind of cool looking.
Yeah, little did you know that it was going to wear off.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's not the end of the world, That's the deal. I'm going to say one other thing here, and this is a truism that I have found through the years. When you find something like that, a product that you really like, and I remember my daddy telling me this about fishing lures. If you find a fishing lure that works for you, go out and buy at least one more and maybe two more. Because sure as the devil, the next year you're going to go back and want another one and they're going to stop making it. So if you really like this pistol, and if you can do it, you might want to get a backup one of these.
That's a good thought because they are, like I said, dollar for dollar. I mean, you're not going to get a better bargain.
Yeah. I don't know. It just all depends. I don't know if the prices are up at local stores. Some stores have increased prices during this COVID madness, and some say, no, we're not going to gouge our customers, and they're just taking care of them. So you might just shop around. But I'm just thinking in terms of you like this thing so much, and it doesn't cost that much, I would probably have a spare just sitting back there in case this went down for a while and you needed to send it off or something like that, or just against the chances of, Ruger stopping making these things at some point.
Yeah, good point. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care, Mike. I appreciate the call, sir. Yeah, it's funny. We're talking, actually, was it yesterday, day before? We're doing some ammo test for our Guns and Gear TV show. And we're shooting some 44 Magnum stuff, and we needed a rifle to shoot it out of. So I was asking a few of my buddies, does anybody have a lever action 44 we can borrow? Because I don't have one of those. And a buddy said, well, I got a 44 Ruger semi-automatic Deerslayer. Now, Jim's over there in the studio waving his hands and going, I got one. Oh, no, I got two. Oh, wait, no, I think I have three of those. because I don't know, somehow he came into those. But this is an example of what I'm talking about. If you don't know, the Ruger made a semi-automatic rotary magazine 44 Magnum rifle called the Deer Slayer. It was terrific. It was slim, it was trim, it was great brush gun. And I don't know how long ago it was they stopped making them. It's 25 or 30 years ago. I mean, and they go for a premium on Gunbroker, used guns. And it's one of those things, and it probably is the question Ruger gets as much as anything else of, why did you stop making it, and when will you start making this rifle again? The answer is always the same on all these. We stopped making it because it didn't sell as well as we wanted it to, or in some cases it's because it was just too expensive to make. We couldn't make a profit. Somebody said recently, well, if they brought it out today, because they used to sell for a couple $100, if they brought it out today, they'd probably have to get $800 for it. And I said, well, I think if they brought it out today and charged $800 for it, I think people would buy it, because it costs about $800 to buy a Marlin lever action out there right now on a lot of these calibers. So I think people would buy it. I don't know if there's any interest, but my point in all of this is, when you find something, remember, there's always a possibility they're going to stop making it. And all of us have had that deal of saying, oh, I wish I had bought that when I could, and now it's not there anymore. So just saying, if you find something you love, and if you have the ability, you may want to get a backup, whether it's a fishing lure or the Ruger EC9 or whatever it happens to be. Did you ever have something like that happen to you? 866-TALK-GUN. If you got one that you think, man, I wish I'd gotten one of those, let me know. All right, 866-TALK-GUN. That'll get you in here. Tom Gresham here. Gun Talk will be right back after this short break. Oh, we're having fun today. Welcome back, Tom Gresham. It's Gun Talk. We are, we're doing an experiment today. We are in the virtual booth, the Ruger booth at the virtual NRA annual meetings. Here's the deal. We had set up to do the show live from the Ruger booth at the NRA's annual meetings in Nashville. And we've done that for a number of years. It worked just great. Except that, of course, this year they're not having the annual meetings in Nashville because of the COVID-19 crisis. And so none of us are in Nashville. So we said, well, you know what, let's just do a virtual Ruger booth. So that's what we're doing. And we're hanging out in the virtual Ruger booth right now. And we're doing it on video. So if you're hearing this, if you want to see what we're doing, by all means, just jump over to our Facebook or YouTube channels. That's Gun Talk. Or look for the Ruger Facebook or YouTube channels. We're streaming live video on all of those, along with our guests, getting video of them, which is kind of fun. It's an experiment, and they're game for a new challenge. And one of those who has been game for a new challenge pretty much all her life, frankly, Mageary Savoy joins us from Team Ruger. Maggie, hi, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Staying safe, staying healthy. So I feel pretty fortunate.
Good deal. It's always good to hear you. Now I actually get to see you, which is kind of fun. So this is good.
This is fun. I like this. This is fun. I wish I were there in person, but this is just as good.
Well, almost as good. You know, obviously, you are a professional shooter. You're Team Ruger. You've been doing this for years. I mean, and you are like one of the better shooters, one of the best shooters, frankly.
Thank you.
So what happens when a shooter can't compete and can't get out there and do your thing now?
It's different. It's definitely different. This would normally be my busy time of the year. I'd be traveling. I'd be going to conventions, but I'd be doing a lot of competitions right now, and I'd be at the range practicing every single day. So it's a different feeling for me. It's a different time in my life, but it's that way for everybody, right? We're all having to readjust and kind of figure things out and get into a new routine. So it's what we got to do.
Are you able to get to the range at all now?
I am not. I'm trying to be responsible and do appropriate social distancing and just really leave the house when I have to, when it's required. But I'm really trying to just kind of take this opportunity to work from home. I'm very fortunate because I have a lot of projects coming my way that I am able to do at home. So I think that's the appropriate thing to do right now.
Okay, so first thing I'd like to get from you is some ideas and tips of a lot of people can't get out to the range, and we know that shooting is a perishable skill. If we don't get out there and do it, you know, you're just not as sharp as you were. Any suggestions or ideas, or even ideas of what you're doing to try to stay sharp somehow with your shooting?
Well, it 100% comes down to your mindset. I mean, staying positive, staying active, staying healthy. Like I said, I'm trying not to go out to the range and leave the house in that way, but I'm definitely still trying to stay physically active. I put my bandana on and I take my dog out for a walk and I get my workout in. And of course, I'm dry firing at home. I'm really trying every single day to handle my firearms and still work through the mechanics. Even if I can't do the live fire portion of it, I can still practice my draw and practice my reloads and really just keep up with the physical manipulations of it all.
Describe, I mean, it's one thing to tell people dry fire, but there's a lot more to it than that. In your head, when you're doing dry fire practice, what are you working on? Because it can't be just, hey, I'm just going to dry fire. I'm just going to dry fire. You got to be working on something.
Yeah. Well, I really try to identify a skill for the day that I want to work on. Like I said, it might be the draw. If I'm shooting pistol, it might be the reload. Something that I'm going to find reoccurring in competition, and I will go through the full routine of having targets set up in front of me, having a timer on my belt, really trying to take it seriously and think about the physical aspect of it, having a good stance, aggressive, leaning forward, my full setup with the gun, hitting that buzzer, going through the mechanics of it, and really just doing the manipulations every single day to keep up with that.
It's an interesting point you make, because I was talking to another shooter recently, and he said, you know, to stay good at this, you have to handle your guns all the time. You have to have them in your hands. And I know that may not make sense to people, but it made sense to me. You might just talk about that.
Well, any sport that you would watch. I mean, if you were watching golf, basketball, baseball, whatever, they don't just show up to the game and shoot a basket for the first time, having not picked up a ball in weeks. I mean, every single sport out there requires a dedication, a daily dedication, and hours behind it, hours and hours and hours. And some of these people, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to go out there and compete against them. I mean, they are so talented, so amazing, and we're getting down to the point where just the split second, the tenth of a second, that can make the difference between winning or losing. And you can take a split second off on your draw, on your reload, on your footwork, all these different portions throughout the stage. You can take that split second off, and it makes a huge difference.
How long have you been shooting competitively?
10 years.
So you were like 6 or 8 when you started.
Yeah, that's it.
Tell you what, I want to do this. I'm going to take a quick break and come back. We want to talk about some of the projects you got going, because I know you got some fun things happening you want to tell people about. So we'll do that, okay? You just hang right in there. We'll take a quick break here. We're talking with Mageary Savoy. This is Gun Talk. If you want to join us, it's 866-TALK-GUN. We will be right back. Gresham here. It's Gun Talk. Welcome back. 866-TALK-GUN, or call me at Tom Talk Gun if you'd like to be a part of this. Don't forget to check out our Facebook page. Also on YouTube, look for Gun Talk Media. We have a lot of things going on. In fact, we're doing live streaming right now on the Ruger and the Gun Talk Facebook and YouTube channels. Have a lot of fun with that. We're joined again, still, with Mageary Savoy from Team Ruger. Maggie, I got a note here that says something about a new TV show. What's going on?
Yeah, this was a project that we had started at the beginning of the year and that we were working really, really hard on. And obviously, things have changed. The dynamics have changed. Travel has changed. And I just have to say, like, from the beginning, with everything that was going on, Ruger was so amazing, so amazing. Before things even got really weird, and this whole quarantine, shelter at home stuff started, they reached out and said, we don't ever want you to do anything that you don't feel uncomfortable with. And so we stepped back and we said, okay, let's just see how things happen and how they roll out and if it's appropriate to travel right now. And of course, it became apparent that it was not appropriate to travel. So they were so supportive on that, but we're still going forward. We'll get back to it when we have the opportunity, when we can be safe out there. But it's something I'm really looking forward to, and I think it's going to be fun and it's going to be really competition-based, which is obviously what I'm passionate about.
What's the show? Where's it going to be?
So originally, the original focus was going to be just reconnecting with former competitors, gun owners, and getting them re-excited about coming back and shooting competition and re-engaging and getting that passion back if they had stepped away from competition.
Okay.
But we see an opportunity now because there are so many brand new gun owners,
Right.
so many brand new people out there buying firearms for the first time. There's really such a great opportunity to focus a little bit more on new skills, safety, training, everything that a new firearms owner would need to be. And I feel so strongly that competition is a great avenue for people to learn about safe gun handling and to do it in an environment where they can be helped so much by their fellow competitors. So I'm excited. I'm excited for all these new gun owners.
Explain that. I think I know where you're going, but the idea that competition is a good way for new gun owners to learn safe gun handling. Why?
Well, because we are so stringent with our safety, and we really take the time and make it a point to emphasize so much just what's appropriate with safe gun handling, how you handle that firearm when you go to the range, everything. It's just so safety oriented. And I think that that's a great opportunity because sometimes if people get a gun, they don't know they're not supposed to have their finger in the trigger guard when they're not shooting. They don't know that they maybe shouldn't just take it out of the bag right when they get to the range, that it would be better for everybody if they went to a safe table. You know, there's little tweaks like that I think are great educational points for new gun owners, and you can learn that through competition.
It's a good point. I've made the point many times. I said, look, to a new gun owner, we who've been doing this for a long time, we forget all those things that we learned along the way. And a new gun owner comes to the range. First of all, do I take my gun out of the case in the parking lot? Do I load my gun in the parking lot? What do I do? Where do I go? How do I handle it? All of those things that you're talking about. And for those who have not been to an actual formal competition, the rules are very stringent because it's all built around safety. And I don't care who you are. I don't care if you've been shooting competition for 30 years. You can be disqualified in the middle of a match, can't you?
Absolutely. And we've all been there, and it's great to constantly have that refresher and that reminder and that focus. And it's also fun. Like, I mean, of course, you know, there's so many good skills that you get out of competition, but it's also fun. And, you know, so for all those new gun owners out there right now, like, let's go have fun. Let's do this.
Yeah, take a class, sign up for competition. And I've said for years, you can go to a competition with nothing and just tell people, look, I've always been interested in this. Tell me about it. And before you know it, you will have been loaned a holster, a gun, mag pouches, ammo, and everything else. Right?
That was me. Of course, when I first started, I used a lot of my dad's equipment. I had his belt. It was too big for me. I had his gun. But later on, when I started really actively shooting competition, most of my equipment just came from people that I met at the range who said, we'll loan you something. It'll fit you a little bit better. And I was able to take that opportunity to kind of discover what I really liked, what really worked for me before I went out and spent the money. But I didn't have all the fancy gear when I first started. I had to figure out, what do I actually really like? And it's really awesome people like that you meet at the range.
You know, I just had a thought. The other thing is, you could never go to the range and shoot a competition or go to the golf course and shoot or play golf with Tiger Woods. But you can go to a match and shoot next to the very best world champions. Maybe not at the same level, but you're all going to be there shooting together, aren't you?
Absolutely. I mean, I met all of my idols when I first started, all of these famous people. I just walked up to them and I asked them questions, and everybody, I've never had a bad experience. I mean that in the most sincere, truthful way. I've never had a bad experience. I've just been so fortunate, and I've met the coolest people along the way. And now I'm in a position where I get to work with them. So it's even better.
No. But now you are one of the champions that people come up to and want to shoot next to. So, you know, let's not forget that. You are one of those people these days.
Thank you.
All right, quick question for you. We used to, whenever we would have you on or one of the women shooters say, you know, talk about women getting into competitive shooting and all that. Are we past the point where we have to do that anymore?
Talk about women? No.
Yeah,
No.
we want to still
Always.
invite them in. Okay.
Absolutely. And it's actually, it's been pretty cool because, like I said, I started this about 10 years ago, and there was definitely a time where when I first started, I was the only woman at the range.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only woman at a competition.
Right.
I would show up and there would be 100 guys and me or one or two other ladies. And I've definitely seen an increase in the last few years, and there's so many more women coming out, and it's exciting, but I want it to keep building. I want it to keep growing. I want to see more women. I think that we're really seeing a shift where people are taking personal responsibility for their safety, for the safety of their homes and their family. We're really seeing women come out there. They are a huge demographic for new purchases for firearms, and competition is a very, very welcoming place, again, for them to come out and hone those skills and learn about their firearms.
All right. For people who want to follow you, is Facebook the best place?
Yes, Facebook, Instagram. I'm always posting.
All right. Mageary Savoy. You can find her everywhere. You're always a pleasure to be here with. I wish we were together and doing some shooting together, but we'll get back to that, okay?
Next time.
All right. Thank you so much, Maggie. It's always good to see you. All righty. That is so much fun. I'm having fun with this whole deal. In case you don't know, we're doing video streaming today. First time for us to do that. It's just a hoot. Check it out over on YouTube and Facebook. Look for the Gun Talk channels there. You know what? You could be a part of this if you call me right now at 866-TALK-GUN. Gresham. If you'd like to join us, just give me a holler. A couple of things for you. The folks at Knife Rights, great outfit. Doug Ritter, they're kind of the Second Amendment group, if you will, on the knife side of things. So they are doing their Ultimate Steel giveaway again. You go to ultimatesteel.org, you'll just be knocked out by how many cool knives are available there. You make a donation, you can get a chance to win a lot of stuff there. It's ultimatesteel.org. All right. You may or may not know that the Army Corps of Engineers has its own regs about guns on Corps property. There's like 400 different waterways in the U.S. There's a big areas where you're essentially prohibited from having your carry gun there. They have opened it up for comments for people who can be us, who will come in and say, look, we would like for you to allow us to have, a second here, get rid of that thing, I'm getting a feedback in there, who would allow us to get, carry our guns on Corps of Engineer property. If you want to make comments to this, all you got to do is like 2 sentences and say, yes, I want to be able to legally carry my firearm on Corps of Engineer property. That's almost all you have to say. The email address, I'm going to give this out like 3 times so you can get this. It's firearms@USACE, think USA Corps of Engineers, okay? Or U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, USACE.Army.mil. That's firearms@USACE.Army.mil. This is for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And I have heard of people who have been approached or ticketed or turned around when they go to launching ramps or waterways or something that are run by or owned by the Corps of Engineers. What they're really doing is they're going to bring the Corps of Engineers property back into line with everything else, like national parks and forests and things where you can carry. So again, if you want to send a note, and I would encourage you to do this, firearms@usace.army.mil. Get you in there. Okay. I'm still on the search. And I can't make up my mind. I keep going back and forth. I want a lever action. I want it in a handgun caliber. I love the idea of a 45 Colt, but I also like the idea of a 44 Magnum that you can use 44 special ammo in. One of the reasons I'm really liking the 44 Magnum idea is because Black Hills Ammo has their Honey Badger ammo in that. And when you're thinking bear protection, that might not be a bad choice. At the same time, suddenly I'm starting to look at the 357 Magnum lever actions. I know, it makes no sense. I'm kind of losing my mind over the whole thing. The problem is, of course, I've got handguns in 45, in 44, and in 357. So the idea of carrying a revolver in the same caliber as the lever action has an appeal. I don't know that it actually really and truly makes any difference one way or the other. And maybe it's a holdover from Western days in the U.S. where you would have a rifle and your revolver in the same caliber because that's probably all you had. You didn't want to mix ammo. I don't know. I'm torn, and I'm going back and forth on this. So if you have any thoughts one way or the other, and of course, if you're talking really bear protection, I do have 4570s. I have 2 of them. I got a 16-inch barrel Marlin 4570 with Skinner sights on it. It's just terrific. And actually, Black Hills makes Honey Badger ammo for that as well. The reason I'm talking about the Honey Badger is because it is, it's just so good. It really is. Just a second here. There we go. All right, Jim, I'm back with you here in my ear set. So how much time we got? Okay, good deal. We're working out the systems here. We're running video, we're running audio, we're doing a whole bunch of different stuff here. Got to go, but I'll tell you what, we'll be back in just about 5 minutes with more news from here on Gun Talk. New guest from the Ruger virtual booth. Join us on video right now, Facebook and YouTube. Gun Talk. I'm Tom Gresham. We're having a bunch of fun today. We're trying something new and different. And I know other people have done this before, but it's new for us. We're calling it the virtual Ruger booth at the virtual NRA annual meetings. We were supposed to be doing a show from the NRA annual meetings in Nashville. That got canceled, of course. We were going to do it from the Ruger booth. So we're kind of hanging out with a bunch of the Ruger folks virtually, if you will, on radio, but also on video. We're doing YouTube and Facebook feeds. At the same time, we're doing the radio. So it's just kind of fun. It's a new deal for us. And I got to brag on our crew here. Michael Davis behind the box over here. Thank you, sir. You're doing a terrific job making it all happen. It's a hoot. We're just having fun. As you probably know, by the way, if you'd like to join us, it's 866-TALK-GUN. As I'm sure you know by now, watching the news, if you're plugged in at all, during the whole COVID-19 emergency, it's been an opportunity for what I would call tyrants, some governors, some mayors, to basically shut down gun sales, shut down gun stores. Joining me right now is Carrion Noir. He is an attorney, a Second Amendment advocate, also does some work with Ruger. Carrion, I know you've been watching this thing. When you kind of try to explain to people what's going on and what's your reaction to everything right now?
What's going on is what I like to call kind of typical opportunism on the part of a lot of these anti-gun politicians. One of the popular sayings within that mentality or the ideology, when I say ideology, I mean anti-gunners, right, is, never let a good tragedy go to waste. And so we've seen throughout history and throughout time, we've seen anytime there's a mass shooting of sorts, they waste no time whatsoever talking about what laws they can implement to further restrict our rights in the attempts to keep us safe. And the sad thing is their exploitation of tragedies doesn't stop or isn't limited to mass shootings. So now we're looking at our situation that we're dealing with a pandemic, and where everyone is trying to do the best they can to stay safe, trying to avoid getting the virus and things of that nature. And while we're all struggling from an economic standpoint because we've essentially had to shut down our country, they see this as an opportunity to further push more gun control measures or prevent the ability for people to acquire more firearms. Because what we're seeing now is when push comes to shove, you can have all the ideologies that you want, but when you're faced with reality and from the perspective that, you know what, I might really be on my own here when it comes to protecting myself. Inherently, the natural instinct is, let me go get a firearm so that I can do that effectively. Right. Yeah, well, and there are a lot of people on the anti-gun side who don't like that.
And we're seeing that right now. We got people, literally millions of people over the last 8 weeks have rushed to gun stores, buying out everything, standing in line. Of course, now they can't get into some gun stores. So to your point, exactly right. When people feel nervous, they're uncertain about things, they think, okay, I'm going to bring in my circle. It's just going to be me and my family, and how do I protect them when I know the police response times have increased? They're releasing criminals from jails. We're kind of on our own. Of course, you and I know, and most gun owners know, that's always been the case. If the police will show up as fast as they can, but until they do, you are on your own. But we have this whole new crop of people who are coming in and buying guns. At the same time, back to your point of, some of these governors, they're not passing new laws. They're just issuing an edict and shutting down gun sales.
Yeah, no, it doesn't surprise me. It's surprising a lot of people, but it doesn't surprise me because I've seen the way that they've acted. I've seen their opportunism before. So it doesn't surprise me at all that instead of actually going through the appropriate channels to get certain laws enacted, if that's what they wanted to do, they take advantage of this crisis and then leverage it to gain more power and then exploit that power to do what they've always wanted to do from the very beginning. Whereas we... Go ahead.
No, that's a great point. This is what they've always wanted to do. And now you can see that, they're just looking for the opportunity to take guns away or to stop gun sales.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the one thing they don't want, because they know inherently that when it comes to the idea of the Second Amendment, it makes the most sense in the world. It makes perfect sense. Any rational human being will look at the Second Amendment and say, you know what? Yeah, from a standpoint of being a free person, being able to own a firearm to protect myself makes a lot of sense. So they know they can't win the argument logically. They know they can't win it fairly. So what they have to do is force people, put them in a position where they can't even acquire their Second Amendment rights if they haven't already done so. Because because they understand that once you actually buy a firearm and then that firearm does something symbolically, which tells you, you know what, I am on my own. But instead of making you feel weak, you realize, you know what, this whole notion of independence, this idea of freedom and being able to stand on my own loins to protect myself and the people that I love, that is empowering. And then so that mentality will start to trickle into other aspects of your life in the way that you may start to vote. So now instead of voting for a particular politician who tells you, I'm going to keep you safe, depend on me, I'm going to come in where you're going to have to rely on the government for your safety. Now you're thinking, wait a minute, I want the guy who's talking to me about making me more free or empowering me to make myself free. And they don't want that because the only way that they can have power is just for us to give it to them. And they understand that buying a gun serves as a catalyst for the idea and the growth of the idea and the importance of freedom in a lot of people's minds once they buy a firearm. They do not want that, which is why they go so far out of their way to prevent people from buying guns during this pandemic.
Absolutely. Then we have this interesting juxtaposition of things happening in this timeline where the gun control, or I call them the gun ban lobby, are saying, well, this is just terrible that so many people are rushing out and buying guns because that's going to make us less safe. And at the same time, we have these two reports that have come out. The National Safety Council has come out with their latest report, and they've been keeping track of gun accidents and accidental gunshot deaths since 1903. And last year was the lowest number they've ever seen, not rate, but the actual number of accidental gunshot deaths is its lowest. Millions and millions and tens of millions more guns and far fewer gun accidents. And then the FBI says murders are down by half over the last 20 years. Gun crime is down by almost 80%. So clearly more guns does not equal more crime, and more guns does not equal more gun accidents. And so they're left saying the same thing that is almost meaningless now, except that the media keeps parroting it.
Well, they have no choice. They don't really have an actual argument to stand on. I mean, other than that, the only fallback would be, well, we just want more power. We want to force you to depend on us. So, and that's not really much of an argument from this standpoint. The only thing they've ever had was, we'll keep you safe if you give up your rights under the Second Amendment. But one thing you pointed out is, they say it'll keep you safe. They're really not talking about us. They're talking about themselves, the elitists. Yeah. What they're talking about is they don't like the idea that the common folk are running around with firearms that make us less safe. They're not talking about you and I. They're talking about themselves. They don't like the idea. They have guns. They know they understand the importance of having firearms. So it's not that they don't want anyone to have guns. They don't want us to have guns because then that makes them less elite.
Hold that thought. I want to take a quick break. We'll come back because you are you're a historical expert, really, when it comes to the history of gun control, and that spins all the way back to where it came from and who those people were they were trying to keep guns from. When we come back, we'll talk with Carrion Noir about that. It's fascinating stuff here. 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk. channels. Actually, right now, if you went to our Facebook and YouTube channels, you would see that we're actually doing this on video as well as on the radio. We're talking right now with Carrion Noir. He is, of course, an attorney, a Second Amendment activist. And Carrion, I was kind of referencing the fact that you have been very good about explaining where gun control comes from, because you were starting off talking about the people who are trying to impose gun control or rip away our gun rights right now. Really, it's not much about the guns. It's about them not wanting us to have things. It's about them keeping their power. But that's been historically true on gun control, has it not?
No, absolutely. Historically, gun control has always been utilized as a means to keep undesirables from having firearms. And we're not just talking America, we're talking about across the globe. And so the idea that you have a certain faction of our country pushing the idea of gun control, even till today, for someone like that, it's kind of borderline disgusting. But I see it for what it is, and I think what's happening now, what we're starting to see, is that there are a vast majority of people across the country who are starting to see gun control exactly for what it is, especially during this time. Because when you have someone who goes out who's honestly never had a firearm before, never really thought of it from a positive perspective, but then says, "Man, we're dealing with a pandemic of a shutdown of our country, and I may be on my own, so let me go out and buy a firearm." Right. And then to have the government say, "Well, no, you won't be able to buy a firearm because we don't want you to have one." That actually forces them to start asking questions that they never asked before, and starting to see their government in a light that they've never seen them before. And so from there, you start to have this kind of evolution of thought and ideology that we haven't really seen before from the other side, well, at least as far as the masses are concerned. And that's why I think this idea, the fact that we've had so many guns bought in March by people who never owned firearms before, I think is such a beautiful thing. Some people may see that as, why are these people aggregating, stockpiling weapons? I don't see it as aggregating or stockpiling weapons. I see it as people starting to embrace the idea of their own freedom that they've always had, and now they're starting to embrace.
To that point, and I've seen this happen many, many times, where you bring someone in and they buy their first gun, or they go out to the range and shoot for the first time, and they're thinking about gun owners changes because they're no longer talking about those people, because they now are some of those people. And it changes everything for them.
No, absolutely. It's one of the most important things that I try to really push forward is the idea of creating new gun owners, because for a lot of people who are anti-gun, they're anti-gun because honestly, they're not invested. They have nothing to lose.
Right.
So for them, if you don't own a firearm, why do you care whether or not I get to own a firearm or someone else gets to own a firearm? Unfortunately, these people tend to be inherently selfish. So whenever you get someone out to the gun range, as you demonstrated, and then they start to shoot, now they realize they are a gun owner, and then they start hearing the laws that will ban or restrict their rights with the particular firearm that they now own. They're like, whoa. I don't like this law so much anymore, because now I'm going to be affected by this because I bought this thing that I actually really like now.
They were willing to impose those restrictions on those people when they weren't included in that group. And then when it turned around and starts affecting them, they go, well, wait. And, part of that, Carrion, is that they start to realize that this image that has been created for them about gun owners of being slow and backward and rural and stupid and all the rest of it, they realize they've actually been lied to the whole time.
Yeah.
And there's this kind of a weird epiphany. And also, I think sometimes they come away with a sense of actually having been betrayed, don't you think?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when you have like a lot of my peers who go out and really kind of get into firearms the first time. There are these apprehensions. I had them growing up. Initially, when I got into firearms, I thought, all I'm going to be met with is a bunch of racers who are going to line me up by a tree, string me up, and hang me. And unfortunately, that was a mentality that had been beaten to my mind. And when I actually went out and shot and I started hanging out with people in the industry and started shooting with different people, I got none of that. So it kind of blew me away because it was like, man, like I was almost a victim of my own bigotry. I would have never done this but for the fact that, I just was kind of had a rebellious spirit in nature. So I said, yeah, I may have this preconceived notion, but I'm going to do it anyway. But only to go out there and find some of the most friendly, nicest people in the world. And there are a lot of people who are having the same experiences I had and starting to realize, what? This doesn't make any sense from what I've been told my entire life.
Chris Chang said he had the same experience coming from the gay community. And he said he was told, well, those people are racist, they're homophobic, they're mean, they're evil, they're going to hurt you, and said he went out there, same deal. It's like, it was interesting. The reaction from gun owners is, so, who cares?
Yeah.
You want to shoot? Okay, let's go shoot. That's all there is.
Absolutely. And, I think a lot of people don't realize that there are tons of people who love this country. And the natural division is based along the ideologies of what were the underpinnings of this country? What were the basis for that? The idea of independence, the idea of freedom, every man created equal. So the only time you really get strong pushback is when the mentality and ideology violates those underpinnings of what this country is about. However, the other side has done a really good job of manufacturing and creating these kind of artificial separations within us. So if I'm living in rural America and I'm really honestly not going to have much exposure to a lot of black people who live in the inner city.
Yep.
That's not because of race. It's just because of where I live. The same way that a black person who lives in the inner city is probably not going to have a lot of interaction with somebody who lives in rural America. That being said, there's no real issue between the two, but guess what? There's a commonality when you add the firearm component, because now each person has to come to a centralized location where guns are involved, right? So what happens then? You get different people from different cultural backgrounds coming together and then exchanging different cultural aspects of how they've grown up. I don't need everybody who's my friend and who I like to agree with me on every single thing that I believe in. However, the firearm and the Second Amendment is an underpinning of this society that, to me, is universal. And you don't really understand how universal it is until you actually engage it. You actually go out and start shooting. You actually go out and start meeting people who have a different cultural background, but also engage in, but have the same ideological background as far as the Second Amendment and firearm ownership. And then what that does to me, that brings the country together better than anything I can think of. Whereas you have the other side who actually gains from keeping people separated based along lines of culture. They say, well, no, that person's, like you said, they create this caricature of people in rural America who are these bumbling idiots, right?
But before you can hate someone, you have to somehow marginalize them or minimize them. And at that point, then you can hate them.
Absolutely.
Historically.
Absolutely.
So question for you. You obviously are a deep thinker about this. You've worked on this. And I have for years said, look, people say, well, what can I do for the Second Amendment? And I always said, if you can't do anything else, and there are a lot of things you can do, but if you can't do anything else, find somebody who's not a shooter and take them to the range. So for you, people are asking you, so what can I do in this year, which is a really, really important election year? What can I do as a gun owner to help?
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to piggyback off what you just said, only because it's the best way to do it. If you can't, not everybody can turn on a camera like me and then start talking. Not everybody can kind of go out on the front lines and go into Washington, go onto the Hill in Washington and advocate for guns. Everybody doesn't have those abilities. Not everybody has the desire to do that. But there are people, like you said, who desire to want to do something to help push the message forward. And one of the main ways of doing that is going out and talking to people who don't necessarily agree with you, and doing it with decorum. And converse. Don't argue, but have a conversation with them. And what that does is that opens up a dialogue that allows people to see both sides of the argument. We have all the facts on our side. We really don't have to convince anyone. We just need to have the conversation because the facts are on our side. We don't have to really prove it. And when people are exposed to those facts and that information, you'll be surprised at how effective that is at opening their eyes and their minds to the idea of firearm ownership. And you don't need to go out like an evangelical, and I can't get the word out. Evangelical, there you go. And preach the word 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But there are people in your immediate circle, right, that you can talk to that you probably have overlooked. And you hadn't talked to them about firearm ownership or invited them to go to a gun range. One of the other effective ways is any videos you come across. And, I try to create my videos in such a way that they're easily digestible and shareable. And the point of that is so that you can take them and share it with somebody who you may not be able to articulate the thought to the degree that I may or someone else in the space may. So sometimes just sharing a video.
Share the video.
Say, here, watch this. Exactly. Watch this video, then come back and then tell me what you think and we can talk about it.
Let me do this. For those who don't know, your name is Colion Noir, Colionnoir. They can look for that on YouTube and other places. All right, I have a switch with you right now. I'm going to throw you a curve.
Okay.
You have gotten into this big time and you love to shoot. What are you shooting these days? What are the guns that if you said, okay, I'm just going to go out and shoot and have fun right now, what are you taking to the range?
So I'll be honest, I'll be the first to tell you, I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled for options and I'm spoiled for choice.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not complaining.
No, I understand. ARs?
So I'm definitely an AR guy. I tend to lean heavily towards AR. But the funny thing is, it's with me, shooting for me is kind of like my refuge. When I want to get away and just kind of separate myself from the world a little bit,
right.
I'll go out and I'll shoot. Sometimes it's an AR, sometimes it's a handgun, sometimes it's a bolt-action rifle. It really honestly depends on what my mood is and what I want to shoot at the time. Sometimes it's just based along the lines that I got a new gun and I really want to shoot and see what it's like.
Of course.
But I'm pretty much all over the place like that when it comes to just shooting recreationally. It's a very mood driven. It's like, what am I in the mood to do? What skill set do I want to practice? Do I want to work on my freehand shooting with an AR-15? Do I want to work on my pinpoint accuracy with a handgun at 15 to 20 yards? There are things of that nature. It just depends on what that mindset is for me at the time. And that's usually what I'll go ahead and grab. Yeah. But then on top of that, I'll try to cram in 6 or 7 other guns that I hopefully want to get to.
Sure, we got to fill up the back of the vehicle before you go to the range. You said something I want you to.
Exactly.
I got about 30 seconds left. Shooting is a mental game. When you go out there's no other room in your head, right?
Yep, absolutely.
It's like for me, it's therapy for me.
Exactly, and I tend to be someone who's very who can lean towards being high strung and just very kind of go.
We got to pick this up another time. I'm running out of room here.
Oh, no worries.
No worries. Time. Hey, Carrion, thank you so much. I used up a lot more of your time than we planned to, but we always have a good time when we get together, man.
Absolutely.
All right, take care. Carrion, I'll tell them where to find you.
Find me basically anywhere on the internet. I try to make myself as widely available as possible. Pretty much every major social media platform you can find me, but mainly MrCarrionTheWar.com.
There you go. Thanks so much. Very good. All righty. We will be back in just a minute. 866 Talk Gun. Give me a holler. Hey, I'm glad you're with us. It is Gun Talk. I'm Tom Gresham, your host, and we're going to be having a bunch of fun over the next hour or so. Well, half hour or so now. And then we're going to go into our after show part of the show, which is tons of fun. Right now, though, we are open lines. If you'd like to join us, 866-TALK-GUN, or just dial Tom Talk Gun. Very easy. If it's a gun you want to know something about, or you want to tell me about a gun that you have, or you have a problem with a gun, we'll see if we can sort it out. I'm not a gunsmith. Don't play one on TV, but we'll see what we can do. Again, 866-TALK-GUN. Let's see. David's called in out of Medford, Oregon. David, what's the issue you got going here with ARs?
Well, I was in Vietnam, and when we got in a heavy firefight, the bullet would get caught by the bolt before it got in the chamber and push out the side of the weapon on the left side.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. Well, I will say this. That was a few years ago. You're as old as I am then, if you were in Vietnam. Maybe you're older. So when you think about it, we've had 40 or 50 years since then to be able to work on these guns. And so you can't really compare what happened in the middle of combat with the M16, which was a new platform at that point, to what we have with semi-automatic AR-15s these days. Have you thought about getting an AR-15?
Oh no, most of the time I didn't have the money, but no, that was the newer version when I got there in '68, and that was the newer version of the M16 at that time.
Right, but again, my point being that we've had 50 years since then to be able
to make them. Yeah, the military's changed
and
the weapon on it.
And the ARs that we have today, of course, are not full auto. They're not that platform. They're similar, but not. They look alike, I guess is what you got. And at least in my experience, the ARs are very functional, very safe, very reliable. If you maintain them, they work really well. I mean, it's really weird. I just don't hear very many people having problems with ARs. Usually it's either something that somebody put together from parts and didn't know what they were doing, and they need a little help with that, or it's somebody that didn't keep it lubed, which is a big deal. You got to keep them lubed. But other than that, it's just a wonderful, lightweight, ergonomic platform. Although I say lightweight. By the time we start adding all the doodads on them, sometimes we can heavy them up a good bit. But I just, it's a great platform. Look, I appreciate the call, sir, and I wish you continued success. Thank you, sir. 866-TALK-GUN will get you in here. Thinking about ARs, it's America's rifle. It's everybody's rifle. It's the do-everything versatile rifle, if you will, because you can chamber it in all these different calibers. Now, when I say AR, I'm talking about AR-15 and the AR-10 platform. The AR-10 is a larger receiver, and with that, you can shoot calibers that are based on the 308th length cartridges. So you can shoot the Creedmoors, the 450 Bushmasters. You can shoot all sorts of stuff in them. The other thing is, if you're not familiar with ARs, once you have your lower built, you can drop uppers on it. That's a complete barrel and everything. I mean, and you pop one off, you pop another on. It's a piece of cake. There's nothing to it. It is literally a matter of seconds. And you have changed caliber, you've changed barrel length, you've changed the forearm configuration, you've changed optic, you've changed everything just by popping one off and popping another on. Therefore, you could have one or two or three AR lowers and have a dozen different uppers in different calibers. And I'd love to hear from people who do that. A lot of people, honestly, just choose to end up having a bunch of different rifles because it does so many different things. Just depends on how you want to approach that. Let's go to Michael on line 2 out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Hey, Michael, you're on Gun Talk.
Hey, Tom, I'm glad you get to talk to me today.
Me too. What's up?
Got a dual range report.
Okay.
First off, like I told Michelle, I'm one of these weird people that likes the 10 millimeter and the 327 Federal and the 5.7. So
okay,
I feel like I'm among my people. Double range report from a couple months ago. Took an old friend who hadn't shot in years, and then took another young man who'd never shot to an indoor range, and they liked several different things. But the interesting thing about it was the shockwave, the 12-gauge shockwave, was like the hit of the day.
Really?
Everybody who saw it wanted to fire it, and literally, it's probably my most fun firearm that I own.
That's interesting.
You know, I sort of got it as a home defense idea, never realizing how much fun it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, I'm not particularly recoil sensitive. I like heavy 10s and, 327 LCRs, so I don't really notice the recoil. But, the other people do. But the thing is there were some young men there who we didn't know who were intrigued by it, and of course they wanted to shoot it. And at the range, indoor range, you have to use either flight control wads or slugs. So I had brought like a ammo can full of slugs just to fire away. And I told them, it's this, and they make you put the target at 25 yards.
Oh.
And I said, well, it's you're mostly just sort of having fun and making noise with it, but here's how you do it. You can do it this way: extend your arms, use the bead, shoot it from the hip, but hold it inches lower than you think you need to hold it, or else you'll shoot the ceiling, which one of them did. Shoots high, it shoots high from the hip, and you think.
Yep.
But the other thing is, my joke has always been at 25 yards indoors, I can't even see the bullseye. But we sort of accidentally figured out the point of aim with these Fiocchi slugs.
Yeah.
He had picked out one of those 5 bullseye targets, one in each corner, one in the center.
Right.
And I was just showing it to him, and he said, "Good shot." I said, "Did I hit it?" He said, "Yeah, you hit the bull." And I looked at it close, and I hit the bull in the upper left corner. I said, "Well, that's interesting. Let me try again. I'll aim at that point." Didn't even hit the target. He said, "Try aiming at the center." Aimed it at the center bull, and immediately was able to put 5 more rounds in about a fist-sized group at 25 yards, because I figured out the point of impact. That may be different with a different brand of ammo, but somebody said, "Well, that's not accurate." I said, "Maybe, but if I ever need to use it at 25 yards, I know exactly where to aim." It was about 4 inches left and maybe 6 inches high from point of aim, but it makes it feasibly useful.
That's it. You figured it out. You figured out how to do it. Let me just say this also. If you like 10 millimeters, keep listening over the next few weeks, because we're going to have an announcement for you. How's that for a tease?
You're scaring me.
Hey, thanks for the call. I appreciate that very much. I'm going to take a quick break here. Our number is 866-TALK-GUN. We are open lines. As you can tell, we'll talk about just darn near anything that has to do with guns, as long as we talk about using them safely and responsibly, okay? I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk. Oh, yeah, by the way, don't forget to go over to shopguntalk.com where we sell like gazillions of things. Actually, not really. We have some hats and some books and some videos and stuff that's kind of hard to find. And I would just tell you, it's very good. Using the word that we hear all the time now, we curate this. All that means is we selected stuff, okay? 866-TALK-GUN. Bob is with us on one out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Bob, you got experience with that M16 our previous caller was talking about.
Right. Well, my years is in 1968. My years were from 1987 forward. But in basic training, we had the old M16s, and yes, lots of problems with those things. Even if you kept them clean. When I got to my duty stations, we migrated to the M16A1 and the A2. And I still had the same problems with them. I've never cleaned anything as hard much as I've ever cleaned one of those. But I'll say this. Well, one of the interesting stories, I was up in Fairbanks, Alaska, Fort Wainwright. Right. When you go out to the field, I don't care what kind of, you don't put oil on your weapons up there because at 30 below or 20 below zero, when you discharge a round, the bolt is ejecting backwards. To eject the spent cartridge, and it will freeze midway after a little while. Then you have to go into a warm-up vehicle.
It just gums up, yeah.
Yeah, well, it doesn't gum up; it freezes up, and you have to actually thaw it out.
Wow,
it's just incredible. So no oil in Alaska.
Okay.
But now my AR-15, I've never had a jam. I've never had a misfeed. I've never had a failure to eject. It's just like you said, 50 years later or whatever. Right. They seem to have fixed a lot of the problems. If they could just do a 3-round burst on those things, although you can get some triggers, get a 2-round burst. You know.
Well, you get the what do they call that thing? I can't remember the.
I can't either.
I can't either. It's Jim's trying to tell me in my ear. I can't hear in there. So it's binary trigger, he's saying. That's what it is. So, it goes off when you pull it, and off when you release a binary trigger. Yeah. So, you could get that as well. Let me ask you a question. Do you have more than one AR?
Do I what now?
Do you own more than one AR rifle?
No, I don't.
You have just one right now. Do you have different uppers for it, or you just use it pretty much stock the way it came?
Okay, so this is rather embarrassing. Went through a divorce and actually had to sell it in order to put food on the table. However, I'm regaining my financial means, and I do want to get another one. And yes, I am thinking about going into different. Instead of just the 223 or the 5.56, I was thinking about other cartridges and other sizes. So, yes, I also had to sell my AK-47, too. It's pretty bad when you have to sell your babies.
Yeah, it is. And, stuff I know we all go through these periods of time. I mean, I personally went through a time when basically had to sell everything, get rid of everything, and turn the house back in and go bankrupt. You go, okay, well, you can survive anything. I can tell you from experience. So, now, one thing I'm going to say here, which is may surprise some folks, there's an argument to be made that you don't need a lot of different calibers because there's so much different kind of ammo available in 5.56. Case in point, I was talking with Jeff Hoffman at Black Hills Ammo this past week, and he was talking about the ammo they load with the Barnes TSX bullets, which are really good bullets. I've used those for hunting. He said they work. He said they expand very quickly. You can actually use them on prairie dogs. They don't weirdly over penetrate in game, but they work really well in game. He says, but if you need to, they will work really well shooting through car doors. So you go, well, that's very interesting. That becomes kind of a 3-trick pony, if you will, of by using the right kind of ammo. And you can get varmint ammo, you can get real deep penetrating ammo, you can get long range, long bullets, high BC. So the 5.56 is not what the 223 of 20 or 30 years ago was. It's a whole different deal. And that's not to say it's not fun or worthwhile to get different calibers for your AR, but I'm just saying you may not need to, is all I'm saying.
Well, need and want are two different things.
Thank you.
You know that. So, and and people with addictions. I am an addiction specialist with substances, but there's a behavioral addiction called buying firearms too. So, and I'm all for that. Sometimes it comes in handy as an investment when you have to liquidate. But anyway, I appreciate you taking my call.
You bet. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. I didn't realize it, but I guess I am an addiction specialist as well. It's my goal to get as many people addicted to shooting and safe gun ownership as possible. 866-TALK-GUN gets you in here. Eric is. Oh wait, I'll tell you what, Eric, don't go to Eric right now. We're not going to have time. Eric, don't go anywhere. They just as I was calling for you, they said 1 minute's what we got left. So that's not fair. We're not going to do that. But we're going to get to you as soon as we come back. But we'll get Eric in, but we'll also have time for you if you'd like to join us. Call us right now, 866-TALK-GUN. That was a very interesting conversation I had with Jeff Hoffman about the 5.56 223 ammo and being able to use it in so many different things. And of course, then you take that same platform, you pop the upper off, you drop a different one on there, you shoot a different caliber ammo, different cartridges in your AR. It becomes just a platform that you start to build from. And once you get started, it's kind of like, well, I could do this, and I could do that. Oh, I could do this. And maybe I need one receiver that I set up as an AR pistol. And maybe I need an AR-10 as well as it never ends. At least I hope it never ends. At least there you go. 866-TALK-GUN will get you in here. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk. Talk Gun gets you in here, and just a real thanks to the folks at Ruger We've been doing this whole thing, we call it the virtual Ruger booth at the virtual NRA annual meetings, because, of course, the annual meetings got canceled. We were going to do our show from there. And so we set this thing up so we've been doing video as well as audio. If you haven't been able to see the video, that's okay, because it's going to still be there on Facebook. It'll still be there on YouTube. You can go back and watch. And we had Chris Calloy, Mageary Savoy, Graham Rockwell, and Carrion Noir, just having a whole bunch of fun today. And thank you for everybody who's been doing this with us, and glad that you could be a part of that all as well. Tell you what, let's do this. Let's go talk to Jeff out of Albuquerque on line 5. Jeff, what's this deal? What happened with Ruger?
Yeah, Tom, I got to say kudos to Crystal at Ruger. I have a single 6 that I got from my grandfather, and it needed the recall on it for the empty chamber.
Oh, okay, the transfer bar safety deal they do, yeah.
Right. I sent it to them. They said they couldn't fix it, so she called me back and she said, we can do one thing or the other. Send it back to you, or we can send you another one. And I went, free? She said, yeah, free. We stand behind our products. So I said, well, send me another one. The next day I started thinking about it and talked to my son about it. He said, but Dad, that was Grandpa's gun. You need to get it back. I called Crystal back. She said, hang on, let me get right with you. She said, I just stopped the truck. I got your gun in hand. I'll send it to you today. I want to say kudos to Ruger.
Wow. She stopped the truck and got your old gun back, your granddad's gun back, and got it sent back. Did you get the gun?
I got the gun, and I was trying to think on why I said send me another one. I was shocked that they were going to just send me another one, and I thought, okay, send me another one. I didn't think about that being Grandpa's gun until my son said something about it, and I went, well, yeah, why would I do that? But Ruger, they stand behind their products, and that's why I own a lot of Rugers.
You know, it's interesting how many times we hear from people who say, you know, it was already out of warranty. I didn't expect them to do anything other than maybe, you know, if they could fix it, that'd be great. They could charge me for it. And then the company, whether it's Ruger or one of the other gun companies, say, well, they fixed it for free, or they couldn't fix it, and they sent me back a replacement brand new gun. It's unbelievable how often that happens, and almost to the point now where we shouldn't be surprised, but I guess that's so different from what we're used to getting with other companies that are not in the gun business.
Right.
That, you know.
And it was built in 1968. That's what shocked me.
Unbelievable. Built it in 68. They'll still stand behind it. If they can't fix it, they'll send you a new one. Well, that's very cool. Well, you know what you got to do now if you haven't already done it. So you got Granddad's gun. You just go ahead and buy the new gun so that you got both of them.
There you go.
All
That's
right.
just a reason to get a new one.
There you go. And in the meantime, since you got that old one, just a chance for me to remind people, if you have the old style single action revolvers, only load 5 chambers, keep an empty chamber under the hammer. That was the safe way to do it. The cowboys knew it. Newest generation of people don't know that. That's why Ruger, created that transfer bar safety, so you could load 6. But if you're not going to put that in, now just do it the safe way and keep an empty chamber under the hammer at all times. You know that, right? I guess he does. All right, he's gone. All right. You know where he went? He went off to buy another gun. There you go. All right, everybody, tell you what, if you'd like to be a part of the after show, give me a call right now. If you're on hold, we're going to carry you into the after show because that's the fun part, and we don't have enough time to get you in right now. 866-TALK-GUN will get you in there. Thank you to everybody who participated in this experiment for us. It was new. I think it's worked really well. Again, Michael Davis, thank you so much. Behind the box where they're doing the technical directing thing, and it's pretty cool. If you want to go take a look at our Facebook or YouTube channels, and you can see the video there as well. Again, 866-TALK-GUN if you want to be a part of the after show. We're going to have Michelle, we're going to have Jim, we're going to have me, we're going to have a bunch of fun. In the meantime, stay safe, take care of your family, do some dry fire practice at home, be careful, and I'll see you at the range pretty soon now.
Thanks for watching Gun Talk Live. For more great gun content, subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. You can always watch the Gun Talk channels on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon. And of course, you can always find us at guntalk.com. Thanks for watching.